Like, comment, share, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section below on all these things. Welcome to SouFLoTV. Hey, them said deportation now keep again. I want you to know that this is absolutely false. Deportation is up and running. I know this is one of the topics that I stick to because I like to keep people updated and give people information that can probably save them from becoming the next deportee. It is I. Check this out. Listen to this headline. The headline says US visa sanctions for countries that block deportations. What this means in a nutshell, it means that if you have citizens in the United States of America, and I'm pretty sure that England, the United Kingdom, will also be doing the same exact thing. I remember recently somebody said, SouFLo, the deportee them or the potential deportee them right now, they must be celebrating, right? Because a little corona, something that corona come around and just knock out everything. And everything is on pause right now. Well, they're letting us know that it is not on pause. It is still going to be happening. And those countries that refuse to accept the deportation of their citizens from the United States, even during the global COVID-19 crisis, are going to face visa sanctions. What says you? Countries, this is coming directly from them, per the Gleaner. Countries that refuse to accept the deportation of their citizens, those who have been deported from the United States, even during the global COVID-19 crisis, they are going to face visa sanctions. In short, what this means, I think there's a number that's set per year. How many students can get visas, how many H-1B1 visas can be given out, work permit visas, etc., etc. If you're one of those countries that decides, no, we don't want them here. They were not raised here. Johnny left Jamaica when Johnny was 2. Johnny is 35 and Johnny has never been back to Jamaica his entire life. He has no known relatives that are still alive that he is in correspondence with or anything. What's he going to do when you send him here? Keep him. We do not want him here. Any country that's brave enough to stand up and say that, the next will come visa sanctions. So a whole lot of their citizens will not be able to receive visas to fly out, to go pursue other business entry or pleasure or whatever it is they're going to pursue. The order was given on Friday, April 10th, by the US President Donald Trump in a memorandum to the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security. And the directive is to remain in place until December 31st. Them never said December 31st of 2022. Them never said December 31st of 2020. I don't know, but it says that directive is to remain in place until December 31st. What does that tell you? That tells me that they are planning on deporting people in the midst of this crisis situation that's going on. Now, this makes me wonder, will these nations have the right to reject? Well, he said it already. No, they don't. They will face the... So, basically, this is your option. You take them. I was going to say, will these nations have the right to reject these people if they test them when they come in, quarantine them, test them, and they test positive for corona? Will they be able to say, no, we don't want any corona suffering people deported to the country? Could you imagine? A plane leaves the United States for Jamaica on September 13th of 2020, and that plane has 50 Jamaican deportees on it. Some have tested positive for the coronavirus. imagine this. Let's think outside the box. They falsify paperwork. Yes, this person was tested. No, they don't have it. And remember, there's a 2-week incubation period, right? Where you can carry it without signs and symptoms. And in that process, you're spreading it as well because you don't know you have it. So you're thinking you're good. Well, it's just a little cough that. Well, that's just a small sneeze. It's flu season anyway. You're not thinking anything. And then 2 weeks later, boom, full-blown issue. And they put these people on a plane and send them. I can see Andrew Hollis right now. Come on in. I'm so heated about the 45 Jamaicans that are out to sea right now, battling all over the place. Just got rejected in Jamaica, sailed across the ocean to Portugal, then they were rejected. Now they're sailing over to the UK, and we're going to see what happens there, if they'll be rejected there as well. We'll see. But on this issue, the order was given. Let me read it for you again. It says, countries that refuse to accept the deportation of their citizens from the United States, even during this global COVID-19 crisis, they are going to face visa sanctions. Period. End of the sentence. The order was given on Friday, April 10th, 2020, by U.S. President Donald Trump in a memorandum to the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security, and the directive is to remain in place until December 31st. This move by Trump comes at a time when dozens of countries, including Jamaica, have closed their borders to incoming travel as we seek to limit the spread of this thing. Or, they said SARS, CoV-2. The Jamaican government imposed a 14-day ban on inbound passenger traffic, but ongoing passengers are allowed to leave. Two-way cargo movement is also facilitated. That means if you want to ship in a barrel, you can still do it. Anybody there wants to ship stuff out, they can still do it. Personnel, human beings, are not allowed to go in, but whoever wants to leave can gladly go. That's basically what it is right now. The measures have been extended until April 18th. So, in other words, it is going to stay this way until April 18th. Today is April 13th, so we have 5 more days to go before they will decide if they want to extend these measures or they will open the borders and people come on in again. I can't see them doing that because the cases of this thing in Jamaica has actually multiplied by small numbers, but it still has multiplied. I don't know where they come from, who brought it in, all this other stuff. I don't know the details. I just know the public information they have given so far. In the US, some states have been granting early release to certain categories of prisoners because of this issue. And this was one of the issues that I spoke about on my channel concerning even Foota Hype with his non-violent, low risk kind of person classification with underlying health issue, and we all know he's diabetic, right? So U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, for similar immigrants in detention facilities have done the same thing. Trump, in his new directive, argues that the countries that deny or unreasonably delay accepting their citizens, the man said, pardon my language, people, he said if you deny or if you unreasonably delay, so they can't even itch and talk about, wait, let's think about it, hold up, let's think about it, no, you're taking too long, visa sanctions. Trump in his new directive argues that countries that deny or unreasonably delay accepting their citizens, subjects, nationals, or residents from the U.S. during this pandemic caused by this thing, unacceptable public health risk for, they will be viewed as a country that are creating unacceptable public health risk for Americans. That's a serious accusation. Wow. Did you all hear that? Did you get that? He said that the countries that deny or unreasonably delay accepting their citizens after them deport them or during the deportation process, their nationals or their residents from the US during this ongoing pandemic thing, they will be viewed as people who have created unacceptable public health risk for Americans. The war is on. No guns need to be fired now. Different type of war going. He said that the US must be able to repatriate foreign nationals who violate the country's laws. And you would think that he would take a pause in the eye of all that is going on to make sure that the people here are safe and more people recover that have been infected. But he seems to be focused on this immigration issue rather intensely. Under the directive, the Secretary of Homeland Security is to notify the Secretary of State if a country refuses to accept or unreasonably delays receiving its citizens, and if that action impedes the operations of the Department of Homeland Security to respond to this pandemic. The Secretary of State has up to 7 days to initiate a plan to impose visa sanctions on that country. 7 days. That quick. This ain't no, it's some serious things that go on now, you know, people. The measures can be lifted if the country back down, says, okay, send them. We'll start accepting them. It says it right here. The measures can be lifted if the country resumes accepting its citizens. This ain't no argument. This is straight up and down. Look, listen. This is what it's going to be. You take them. If you don't take them, visa sanctions. If you delay too long, visa sanctions. If you hurry up and take them, you're all good. If you're brave enough to step up and say, no, we don't want them, visa sanctions. But there's room, because if you take that back and say, I'm sorry, my bad, send them, we'll take them, we will lift the visa sanctions and you can have them. Somebody says some big bully in Aguanya, so. In the January 2017 executive order on public safety, Trump directed departments and agencies to employ all lawful means to enforce U.S. immigration laws, to secure the country's borders, and to remove those who pose a threat to national security. So in other words, ICE is still in full effect. People are still getting rounded up. Deportation still a keep. I can't help but to think that if you are an illegal immigrant in these people's place right now, and say for instance you get sick, I'm guessing there are illegal immigrants right now that would try every home remedy there is. Some of them would probably are probably even going to die at home among their family, because they know that once they go out of the dark for help, out of hiding, out of the shadows they call it, for help, I'm short of breath, can't breathe, I think I'm infected, then your whole story comes out. Who are you? Where's your social security number? They're gonna run that. You're not here legally. Straight over there, so you go to one of those facilities. Whew, this is serious. He argued that the lack of cooperation by receiving countries has been a challenge. That's what Trump is saying. He's saying that some countries have been challenging it. It's been a challenge. Tens of thousands of removable aliens have been released into communities across the country solely because their home countries refuse to accept their repatriation. That's a huge problem right now in the US. You heard what I just said? Tens of thousands of people that they have deemed removable in the US have had to be let go into communities solely because their home countries refuse to accept their repatriation. Many of these aliens are criminals who have served time in our federal, state, and local jails. The presence of some individuals in the United States and the practice of foreign nations that refuse the repatriation of their nationals are contrary to the national interest, said Trump in his executive order on enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States. I'm reading this straight from the Gleaner because I'm putting in my part as I go along. So, here's what's been happening. They've been rounding up people, right? Not to mention those who got caught. For instance, you got pulled over because one of the tail lights are off on your vehicle, and the police is going to tell you, hey, you're driving with your left light, back light out. Driver license registration, please. Let's run, do you have insurance? And they go run your stuff and something come back that says you're not who you are. And then blah, blah, blah. One thing lead to another and you end up in captivity, right? And now you're deemed illegal to be here. You don't have the proper paperwork. So you're going to be held at one of these places. A lot of these people have been let go under the condition that a lot of them are non-violent because they didn't harm anybody in their crime. Their only crime is breaking the immigration law. They're non-violent, so they were considered low-risk, non-violent kind. The very violent ones they have held on to. But because of the number of people that are in these facilities and the risk they run, could you imagine how it would look if hundreds, even thousands of immigrants started dying in these ICE holding places as this COVID-19 thing sweeps through these facilities? So they decided, look, let's start letting some of these people go. Let them back out into the community. And that's what has been happening. And Trump is saying, no, the only way we're going to deal with this now is if we start speeding up the deportation process, send them home. And the only reason why it is being slowed down is because these other nations are saying, we don't want them, so you have to keep them. But hear what? What if we keep them? Then visa sanctions for your country. Concerning Jamaica, ICE, in its 2018 Enforcement and Removal Operations report, indicated that it removed 792 Jamaicans in that year alone. 700. And that's what I said to people. I said, how come when the UK is sending back people to Jamaica, right? Why do they make such a big fanfare about it? Them put the people in face on newspaper. They broadcast it. A plane is coming with 45 deportees or 32 deportees, criminal deportees, and they have 300 and something years of prison time combined between all of them. Some have been in prison for rape and murder. They give a whole different air of energy to just removing the people them. The US quietly deported almost 800 Jamaicans in 2018 alone. Quietly. Sent them in on a plane. Nobody knew, nobody said nothing. In 2017, the figure was another 782. And 787 were deported in 2016. So 2016, 17, and 18, the numbers were 792, 782, and 792, 782, and 787. 787. In general, hundreds of Jamaicans are typically deported from the United States per annum, with the majority being removed due to overstaying and due to illegal entry or re-entry. So not really criminals per se, majority of them just overstayed, got caught, and get dipped. Anyhow, the big concern concern here is, of course, pandemic. It's on everybody's mind, and should now be a time where they should be accepting hundreds, literally. Because I'm sure if 2016 it was 787, 2017 it was 782, 2018 it was 792. I'm sure 2019 and 2020 it'll be 7 something again. So you're looking at almost 800 people through deportation process into the country. Could we actually handle potentially 800 cases of the corona girl we are going on in Jamaica? Leave your comments in the comment section below. SouFLoTV, I'm out. Peace.